Hey guys, Hitman89 here, I hope you're doing great. Last week we had the best Xbox games of 2024, check it out if you're on Xbox or PC, and today we're gonna be looking at the 10 most disappointing games of 2024. But before we do that, if you want to get the best games for cheap, check out Instant Gaming. They have tons of amazing deals. You can save 10 to 15 bucks on Stalker 2, Silent Hill 2, God of War Ragnarok, and all the latest AAA games. If you're on PlayStation, you can save up to 20 bucks on PSN cards, which is awesome. Instant Gaming's also got 3-month Game Pass Ultimate keys for your PC and Xbox for less than 30 bucks. Oh, and Black Friday is right around the corner, so stay tuned for even more insane deals. Go ahead and click the link in the description to get everything you need for cheap. Now let's have a look at the first game on my list. I really love the Stick of Truth and the Fractured Butthole, but South Park Snow Day is just mediocre. It felt like they took a generic, repetitive game with shitty combat and they slapped a South Park skin on it just to make a quick buck.
Good luck trying to ruin this game. I'm sure you'll manage.
There's nothing to ruin. In my opinion, this is only worth playing when it lands on PS Plus or Game Pass, and judging by the sales, that might happen soon. Ubisoft has been on a losing streak for a while now, but Star Wars Outlaws is the game that put the last nail in their coffin. Cause when you make an open world Star Wars game and call it Outlaws, but you don't let the player break any laws, then of course it's gonna be boring as fuck. Especially when 89% of your game is based on stealth and the AI is so bad, it's actually hilarious. At number 3, we have Dragon Age The Veilguard. Most people on YouTube will tell you this game is awful. That's not true. I think Veilguard isn't bad, but it's definitely the worst Dragon Age ever. It'll remind you more of God of War than Dragon Age. It's a great action RPG though, gameplay wise, obviously, cause the writing is terrible and there's plenty of woke shit that's forced down the player's throat for no reason at all. Maybe next time they'll release a racing game and call it Dragon Age 5, who knows? The casting of Frank Stone is basically Until Dawn for Dead by Daylight fans, or at least that's the audience they try to target. There are DBD references everywhere, which sounds great, but the game would have to be fun first. You can beat it in 5 hours if you don't die from boredom within the first 30 minutes.
That is a good one.
No, seriously, this is just boring. Next, we have another game from Supermassive Games. The Until Dawn remake is unnecessary, overpriced, and unpolished. In other words, a cash grab. It's 70 bucks for what's mostly a graphical overhaul and not even a good one. At launch, it only ran at 30 FPS on PS5. The performance mode was added later on, but the mocap is still significantly worse than the original and the facial animations are just weird. The only thing I loved about this remake was watching my wife miss every single QTE. This is only worth it for 30 bucks or less if you're on PC and never played the original. Speaking of original, back when Alone in the Dark came out in 1992, it was the first 3D survival horror game, so when this reboot was announced, I was pretty excited to see if they could finally bring the series back to its former glory. I've only tried the PC version and it had some stuttering. The puzzles are extremely easy and the movement and combat system are outdated and bad. It's a huge letdown and it's not even scary. The guy from Stranger Things isn't enough when the combat sucks dick. Just get Silent Hill 2 instead of this mediocre game. Speaking of mediocre, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League got me excited until I found out it was a live service game. The writing is pretty terrible, most jokes didn't land, and the game is just way too repetitive to be enjoyable. I was forcing myself to play it, 15 minutes at a time cause I couldn't handle more of this shit. It's not my cup of tea anyway, so to be honest, I was much more disappointed by Hellblade 2. Ever since the Series X was announced, everybody has been waiting for this huge game that will finally help Xbox compete with the PS5. Visually speaking, Hellblade 2 is the best looking game ever, but in terms of gameplay, a tech demo might be deeper than this. I mean, I don't know who thought walking straight, solving simple puzzles and having a combat system that's basically QTEs in disguise would make a great game. Next, we have another game with a shitty idea. Assassin's Creed Black Flag was awesome, so Ubisoft thought they'd make a standalone pirate game. Skull and Bones is a motherfucking quadruple A game. I don't know where the budget went though, cause this is one of the most boring games I played this generation. And I played a lot of terrible ones. Last and probably least, No More Room in Hell was great. The second one, not so much. It's an early access title, so it's reasonable to expect some issues here and there, but No More Room in Hell 2 feels like it's still in pre-alpha. There are tons of bugs, guns feel weak, there's only one map, and this is now an extraction shooter. They should have waited at least a couple more months before selling an unplayable game to people and, making them feel like they got dropped. And that's gonna be it for the most disappointing games of 2024. Let me know what games completely let you down this year, especially if they're not on this list. Oh, and please don't forget to support the channel with a thumbs up and a subscription. It really means a lot. Next, we'll have the best single-player games of 2024, so stay tuned. It's been Hitman89, have a good one.
I will not stop, I am prepared to get to the top, yeah, you must be rare. Got 'em like, hey.